everyone, I hope all of you are doing good, and today I am here with a video on integers class 6th maths. So I am Roshni from Learner Hub, the free learning platform where you get to learn anything about maths and science absolutely for free at learnerhub.com. Now what exactly are integers? Well, they are a new set of numbers that we are going to introduce to you. Before that, let's quickly talk a bit about numbers. What comes to our mind when we think of numbers? Counting is the first thing that comes to our mind. If you think of a 2-year-old child and if you ask that child to count, how would he or she count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on, right? So all these counting numbers starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to infinity are called natural numbers. Now the question is, what exists below 1? For example, I have 5 fingers now. Now I have 4, 3, 2, 1. And what exists below 1? 0, exactly. And this is where we introduce you the concept of whole numbers.
Numbers. The first numbers which naturally come to us, they are nothing but the natural numbers. So the numbers starting from 1 to infinity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on till infinity, they are all natural numbers. Why are they natural numbers? Because they come very much naturally to us. If you ask a small kid, maybe aged 2 or 3, if you ask him to count, so how does he start counting? He starts with 1. He starts with 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So look at the fingers in your hand. How many fingers do you see in your one hand? There are 5. 5 is a natural number. When you look at your bank balance, it might be some 2000 rupees. So 2000 is again a natural number. So all of these numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till infinity, they are all natural numbers. Now, you might ask, what exists below 1? Like we see, below 3 exists 2. Below 2 exists 1. What before 1? What is there before 1? So let us look at this example. Let's say that this little boy has 5 toffees. So he has 5 candies with him. Now he ate one, so it became 4. He ate another, it became 3. He ate one more, so now he has 2. So when he eats one more, he is left with 1. So gradually it was 5. So from 5 it reduced to 4, from 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. Now what will be there after 1? So when he eats up this last candy, what is left with him? Nothing. He is left with 0 candies. So that means what exists below 1? 0 exists below 1. Now the question is, we never counted this 0 in natural numbers because we said that natural numbers come naturally to us and we naturally start counting from 1. So what about 0? Where should this 0 go? Because 0 also has a very important role to play in mathematics. So therefore came whole numbers. So whole means complete. So whole numbers would include all the natural numbers plus 0 because 0 plays a very significant role. So now we thought that okay, with whole numbers in place, we have covered all the numbers because now we have included 0 as well. So all numbers starting from 0 till infinity, they are all categorized under whole numbers. So now you have the complete set of numbers. That is what we thought at that time. So when you look at a digital clock, so how does the timer starts? It starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Or you think of the importance of zeros when you talk about money. Let's say that you have 300 rupees and your friend has 30,000 rupees. So how does the two numbers differ? So you had 300 and your friend has 30,000. So how is 300 different from 30,000? 300 has 2 zeros, 30,000 has 4 zeros. So as the number of zeros increase, the value of that number increases considerably. So even one more zero. So there is a huge difference between 30 and 300, but there is just a difference of a zero. So zero plays a very critical role, and when you think of money, you get to know its importance all the more, because you can very easily relate to the difference between rupees 30 and rupees 300, right? So zero plays a crucial role. Now let's say that in a classroom there is one student sitting in the class. So imagine the strength of the classroom, a big classroom, just one student inside the classroom. Now instead of one, if you have 10, so does that make a difference? In the first case you had one student, in the later case you have 10 students. So of course it makes a difference, but as such, number wise, the difference is only in a zero. So zero is very critical, and it plays a very crucial role in mathematics when we talk about numbers. So fine, so everybody was happy that okay, now zero is included in the set of numbers, and that is why we had whole numbers. Now the next question was, what exists below 0? So if 0 exists below 1, what exists below 0? Something must be existing below 0 as well. So let's analyze again. Let's say the same little boy who had 5 chocolates, and he started eating up one chocolate gradually. So at last he was left with 1 chocolate. When he ate that up, he had 0 number of chocolates. That is, he had no chocolate. Now let's say the boy still wants to eat some chocolate. So what he does, now this time he goes to his elder brother and asks him to borrow a chocolate, and borrows a chocolate from him. So his elder brother had good number of chocolate collection. So this little boy, he asked his brother that, okay brother, you give me 1 chocolate now, I will return it to you later. That is, today I will eat this chocolate, but some other time when I buy chocolates for myself, I will return this 1 chocolate to you. Right? So basically this chocolate is not of this little boy's. He has borrowed it from somewhere, and he took this chocolate. Now the moment he took this chocolate, how many chocolates he has? Does he have 1 chocolate? No, because it is not his own chocolate. It is a chocolate which he has to return after some time. So how many chocolates he has? So there we introduce the negative numbers. So we say that now the boy has -1 chocolate. -1 means he has 1 chocolate, but this is in negative balance. That means it is not his own chocolate. He has to return it later. Now if he borrows 1 more chocolate from his elder brother, so how many chocolates he has now? He has -2 chocolates. That means these 2 chocolates are not his own, but he has to return it later. So basically what we realized is there are negative numbers which exist below 0. And these negative numbers are just like the positive numbers with a negative sign. So you have numbers like -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on till infinity on the negative side. So this was something which was very interesting. Now the question was, okay, first we had only natural numbers, then we included whole numbers for 0. So now what should we do in order to include these negative numbers also? Now you might be thinking that I never came across negative numbers. Like, I mean, do they really exist, or do we really need negative numbers? So let me give you some example from our day-to-day life which we all make use of, and we will see that negative numbers play a role there. Now let's say on a hot sunny day, if you try to find out the temperature outside, you see that the temperature is if it's very hot, in a very hot summer day, the temperature might go as high as 50 degrees Celsius as well. In a moderately warm day, the temperature might be somewhere around 25 degrees Celsius or 22 degrees Celsius or something like that. But sometimes during in the hilly areas, especially in hill stations, during the extreme winter time, when you look at the temperature, sometimes it starts freezing. You have snowfall outside, you have mountains covered with snow. So when that scenario comes, when you try to find out the temperature outside, you see the temperature goes as low as -10 degrees Celsius. So what is this -10 degrees Celsius? This tells you that the temperature is even below 0 degrees Celsius. So when the temperature reduces below 0 degrees Celsius, what happens? Water starts to freeze. That is, water starts getting converted into ice, right? So what is the temperature now? The temperature is minus 10. So you need negative numbers to describe such low temperatures. If there are no negative numbers existing, how would you describe this extremely low temperature? Because you would not have anything to express before 0. So 0 degrees Celsius would have been the minimum temperature. But that's not the case. That's because we have a complete set of negative numbers which takes care of these low temperatures. So this is one place where we make use of negative numbers. So integers are a set of numbers which include the positive numbers plus negative numbers plus 0. So basically it includes all the whole numbers along with the negative numbers. So all of them together are called integers. So to sum it up, we mean that now when we talk about integers, we talk about all the natural numbers like 1 to infinity. We also talk about the 0. That way we include all the whole numbers, and at the same time we also include all the negative numbers. So when we represent all of these on a line which makes the number line, so this is how it looks. You have 0 at the center. On the right side you have all the series of positive numbers. On the left side of 0 you have all the negative numbers. So this is how the entire arrangement of integers look like. So this means that integers include them all. The natural numbers, they are included within integers. So you see, these are the natural numbers. When you add 0 with the natural numbers, what do you get? All that is enclosed within the green shield, that is whole numbers. Now when you include the whole numbers plus the negative numbers, then you get all that is included within the red shield, that is the integers. So integers include the whole numbers, natural numbers, negative numbers, all of them together make the integers. So natural numbers, whole numbers, negative numbers, they are all part of integers. Now, how do we locate integers on a number line? So as I said that as long as we knew only about natural numbers or whole numbers, this is how our number line looked like. So it started with 0 and then it moved on till infinity. Now that we also know the negative numbers, it becomes something like this, where we have the negative numbers on the left hand side of 0. So this is how the integers look on a number line. So how do we locate different integers on a number line? So if you are looking for a positive integer, then you should definitely move towards the right of 0. For example, if you are looking for plus 3, then you need to move right of 0 and take 3 jumps, like 1, 2, 3, and that's how you reach 3. Now let's say that if you want to reach a negative integer, then you definitely need to move towards the left, like minus 3 would be on the left of 0. So depending on whether you need a positive or negative integer, you need to make your jumps in the respective directions. Now the question comes is, how do we compare integers? Now earlier we only had positive numbers, so things were pretty simple. We knew that okay, if a number is with a 3-digit number will always be greater than a 2-digit number. Right? So we knew things and it was pretty much simple. Now that we have both negative and positive numbers, so the comparison might become a little difficult, though I will not make it difficult for you, but it might sound a little difficult. That is, comparing minus 16 with plus 6, which would be greater? Or comparing minus 16 with minus 100, which would be greater? So, when you have this negative sign into place, will things become more complex? Let's find that out. So let us look at some examples first. So you have 10 and 18. If I ask you which is bigger, 10 or 18? Now very quickly I'm sure you would answer that 18 is bigger than 10. So this would be a pretty simple question for you to answer. Which is bigger, 10 or 18? So obviously you would say 18 is bigger than 10. Now when you look at the number line, so let us make a rough number line where you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Now we are only focusing on the positive numbers because both 10 and 18 are positive. So let's say you have 10 somewhere here and then you have 18 somewhere here. So we are not plotting all the numbers till 18. So when you look at this, you see 10 comes here and 18 lies all the more on the right of 10. So very clearly looking at the number line also we can say that okay, 18 is greater than 10. Now things turn a little different when you have one positive number and the other negative number. For example, if you have to decide amongst minus 35 and plus 31, which is bigger? So how would you decide in that case? Because one is negative and the other one is positive. Now again, let us focus on the number line. Now one important thing is that all the positive numbers, now gradually, have you seen one thing that as you move towards the right on the number line, what happens? The values increase, like 7 is greater than 2, 18 is greater than 7, right? So as you keep moving towards right, the values keep increasing. Now this is true not only for the positive integer, this is true for the entire number line. So on a number line, the moment you move towards right, your values keep increasing. Now when you look at the negative number side, what happens? Here in this case, as you move towards right, you are actually moving towards numbers like minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on. And these numbers are greater than numbers like minus 99 or minus 100 because they are located towards this side. So now when you look at the negative number line, you can see that you have numbers placed like this. So minus 10 and minus 2, if you try to compare these two, which is bigger? So minus 2 is bigger because minus 2 is located on the right of minus 10, and as you move towards right, the value increases, right? So basically, if you now focus only on the negative numbers, you see that in case of negative numbers, if you compare minus 10 and minus 2, even though 10 is bigger than 2, but minus 10 is smaller than minus 2. So the moment you put minus sign, their values, the relationship between the two integers completely reverses. So in this case, one number is negative, the other number is positive. Now quite obvious, all the positive numbers are located on the right side of the negative numbers. Therefore, all positive numbers are greater than negative numbers. So in this case also, 31 will be greater than minus 35. Let's look at this example. Here you have 103 or minus 108. So again, in this case, the positive number would be greater than the negative number, as I discussed. Now let us try to understand the comparison between two negative numbers, minus 35 and minus 31. Which one is greater? So as such, if you forget about the negative sign, then 35 is greater than 31. But the moment we put negative sign to both the numbers, the relationship becomes opposite. So we say that minus 35 is smaller than minus 31. But why? So I have already proved that using number line, that on a number line, anything that is on the right is greater. So minus 31 is on the right of minus 35, so it is greater. Now let us take a real life example and try to understand why minus 35 is smaller than minus 31. Now let's take the example of temperature. So let's say that you have gone to a hill station which is very cold, and moreover it is winter season, peak winters. So with each passing day, the temperature is dropping further. So initially the temperature was around 10 degrees Celsius. After a couple of days, it dropped to 0 degree, then to minus 5 degree, minus 10 degree, and finally it dropped to as low as minus 31 degrees Celsius. Now what is happening? Now as the temperature is dropping further, so the decrease is more, right? So what is happening? So as it decreased to minus 31, when it further decreased, it became minus 35. That means minus 35 is smaller than minus 31. Logically also it is smaller, right? So please do not keep this confusion in your head that 35 is greater than 31. That's fine. That's because both of them are positive numbers. So we are only bothered about their values. But the moment you put a negative sign to them, the relationship becomes just the opposite. So minus 31 becomes greater than minus 35. So when you place it on a number line, very simple thing that you need to remember is, as you move towards right, you move towards bigger number. That is the only thing you need to remember. So whenever you are comparing a positive number and a negative number, the positive number would be greater. If you are comparing two negative numbers or two positive numbers, just follow this rule. Let us look at another example where we can actually see that how negative numbers are smaller than the positive numbers. Let's say that you went out shopping with your mother. Yeah, so your mother carried some amount of money with her for shopping. So first you went to this particular shop and you shopped a lot of things, maybe some clothes, some grocery items, etc. So you purchased a lot of things. Let's say that you started with rupees 500. So when you entered the shop, you had rupees 500 with you. Okay. Now by the time you did all your shopping here, after that you were left with just rupees 100. So you entered the shop with 500 and you came out with rupees 100 because you had already shopped for the remaining 400 rupees. Now from this shop you went to a cafe and there you had some coffee. So there also you had to pay some money. Now let's say that there you had to pay this 100 rupees. So you had coffee and snacks for rupees 100. So now what is left with you? So as you move on, you are left with no more money because that 100 rupees is being given to the coffee shop. So now you have how much rupees? You have 0. You do not have any money. So you have rupees 0. So now let's say that you wanted to buy some vegetables because there are no vegetables at your house. So you went to the vegetable vendor, but now you do not have money. So do you think that the vendor would give you vegetables for free? No, not really. But then you might have asked the vendor that, okay, you give me the vegetables and I will pay you tomorrow. So basically you borrowed from the vendor. So let's say you borrowed rupees 100 from the vendor. That is, you purchased vegetables worth rupees 100 and you said that you will return it back the day after. So basically now your balance is rupees 100. Now what is happening gradually? So as you see, as you move from the shop to the cafe to the vegetable vendor, your balance was gradually decreasing. So when you started from home, it was 500. By the time you reached the cafe shop, it was 100. By the time you reached the vendor, it was 0. And by the time you came out of the vendor, it was minus 100. That means you had to return some 100 rupees to the vendor. So this shows that 500 was greater than 100. 100 was greater than 0. 0 was greater than minus 100. So basically we see that as the value decreases, you move towards the negative numbers from positive numbers. So with this idea in mind, let us now talk about the number line in detail. So when you say a number line, it is a line which represents all the integers at one place. So it is a very convenient way of representing integers. You get to know which integer is located where. So you have a 0 at the center, all the positive integers towards the right, all the negative integers towards the left. Now, as you move right, you move towards the larger numbers. That's what we said, right? As you move right, you move towards larger numbers. So that actually means as you move left, you are going to move towards the smaller numbers. Now that's quite obvious, right? So just with this simple logic, you should be able to compare all type of integers. If you just remember this, that moving right means moving towards larger numbers. This will help you to distinguish between any two numbers, which is greater, which is smaller. You'll be able to do all of that. So let us now look at the same examples with this idea in mind. Whenever you look at a number line, just think 18 or 10, which is located towards the right. So 18 is located towards the right. So 18 is greater than 10. Similarly, minus 35 and plus 31. So definitely plus 31 is greater because all positive numbers are located towards the right. 103 and minus 108. Again, the positive number would be greater because they are located towards the right. So see, remembering that simple tip can help you to decide which is bigger so easily. So now that we have discussed all the comparison of integers, let's have a quick recap. So we have learned that 0 is greater than any negative number. So 0 will always, doesn't matter whether the negative number is minus 200 or minus 20,000, but any negative number will be smaller than 0. Okay. A positive integer is always greater than a negative integer because on a number line you would see that the positive integers are all located towards the right and the negative integers towards the left. So any positive integer would be greater than any negative integer. A positive integer is always greater than 0 because all the positive integers are towards the right of 0, so they are all greater than 0. For two negative integers, one with smaller value will overall be greater. For example, if you compare minus 40 and minus 10, which has a smaller value, that means if you only consider the value 40 and 10, which is smaller, 10 is smaller, but overall when you consider with the sign, you would see that minus 10 is greater. So basically when you are comparing two negative integers, the one with a smaller value, the number with a smaller value will overall be a greater number. So in this case, out of minus 40 and minus 10, 10 is a number with smaller value, but overall minus 10 is greater. So if you remember these four rules, it's very simple to identify or to compare two integers. Represent the following numbers as integers with appropriate signs. A deposit of rupees 200. So deposit, that means you are giving this money into the bank. You are putting this money into the bank. So rupees 200, and this would have a plus sign because you are depositing it, this money. So this money is getting added to your account. Withdrawal of rupees 700, withdrawal means taking out that money. So what is happening to your balance? Your balance is decreasing, your balance is reducing. So the withdrawal would be a minus sign, so minus rupees 700. So this was plus 200 is deposit, minus 700 is withdrawal. So if plus represents deposit, then definitely minus will represent withdrawal, because both of these are two opposite phenomena. In deposit you put money into your account, in withdrawal you take out money from your account. Question number 2. Adjacent figure is a vertical number line representing integers. Observe it and locate the following points. So here you see it is a line which is just like the number line. Instead of a horizontal line, you have a vertical line like this. So where this is your origin, this is the center point, and then you have points on both up and down. So like how in a number line we have on the right side we have positive integers, on the left side negative integers, here above we have positive and below we have negative. So that is how it is. Okay, so the first question is, if point D is plus 8, then which point is minus 8? So point D is plus 8. That means if you start from here, after how many points you have plus 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 points above is plus 8. That means 8 points below would be minus 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means point F would be minus 8. So the answer would be F. Is point G a negative integer or a positive integer? So where is G? G is here. So what do you think? G would be negative or positive? So anything below is negative. So G would be a negative integer. Write integers for points B and E. Where is B? B is here, and where is E? E is here. So if this is minus 8, if F is minus 8, that means this point would be minus 9 and this point would be minus 10. So E would be minus 10, and what about B? So if this is 0, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 4. So B would be 4, that is plus 4, and E would be minus 10. Which point marked on this number line has the least value? So which is the minimum value here? So as you move down, you go towards the negative numbers. So the negative numbers are smaller than positive numbers. So obviously some number on this side will only be the least value. Now in negative numbers also, the number with maximum value will overall be the lowest number. That means in the negative numbers, which is the number with maximum value? That is minus 10. Right, so minus 10, which is marked by point E, would have the lowest value. Arrange all the points in descending order of value. Descending order means from greater to smaller. So which is the maximum value of the number? So the maximum value would be of D, and as you go down the value decreases. So D greater than C, greater than B, greater than A, which is greater than O, which is greater than H, G, F and E. So E has the least value and D has the greatest value. Question number 3. In each of the following pairs, which number is to the right of the other on a number line? So let us say this is a number line, and what we have learnt is if this is 0, as you move towards the right on a number line, you move towards the greater number. So let's compare -3 -8. So out of -3 and -8, which is greater? So the values of 8 is greater, so overall -8 would be smaller. So -3 is greater than -8. That means -3 would lie to the right of -8. So which number would lie towards the right? -3. 1 and -100. So out of 1 and -100, 1 is a positive number, so 1 is greater than -100. Therefore, 1 would lie to the right of -100. Then -11 and 10. So again, out of -11 and 10, 10 is greater because 10 is a positive number, which means that 10 would lie to the right of -11, because a greater number always lies towards the right of the smaller number. Question number 4. Write true or false. -8 is to the right of -10 on a number line. So if you compare -8 and -10, you would see that -8 is greater than -10. That means -8 would lie to the right of -10. So this is true. -100 is to the right of -50 on a number line. So if you compare -100 and -50, you see that -50 is greater than -100. Because if you look at only the value, 50 is smaller, but overall with the negative sign, -50 would be greater. So since -50 is greater, so -50 should lie on the right of -100. Right? So this statement is false. So -100 should actually lie to the left of -50. Smallest negative integer is -1. That is again false. That's because -1 is the biggest negative integer. So as you move towards -2, 3, -4, -5 and so on, so the value, overall value keeps decreasing. -26 is greater than -25. That is also false because -26 is less than -25. So whenever you compare two negative numbers, the number with greater value is overall the smaller number. Question number 5. Draw a number line and answer the following. So let us first draw a rough number line. So let's say this is a number line. You have 0 here. And which number will we reach if we move 4 numbers to the right of -2? So where would be -2? This is -1, -2, -3, -4. Similarly, this side 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the question says that you start from -2 and you have to move 4 numbers to the right of -2. So right is this direction, okay? So 4 numbers to the right, that means 4 jumps towards right. So 1 jump, 2 jump, 3 and 4. So after the 4th jump, where do you arrive? You arrive at +2. So which number have we reached? After moving 4 numbers to the right of -2, we have reached at +2. So let us look at the second one. If we are at -8, so let us draw it till -8. So -5, -6, -7 and -8. So this is -8. So it says that if we want to move, if we are at number -8, in which direction should we move to reach -13? So where will be -13? Right side or left side? Left side, of course, because towards the left only you have the smaller numbers and -13 is smaller than -8. So definitely you will have to move towards the left. And how many jumps do you need to move towards the left? So if you draw it in a better way, let's assume that if -8 is here, so you'll have -9, 10, -11, -12 and then -13. So basically from -8 you need to take 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 jumps. Only after 5 jumps towards left you will be able to reach -13.
I hope you found the video useful, and for everybody who wants to learn the entire lesson on integers, do not miss watching both the videos of this playlist. The link is given in the description below. So I will see you all very soon with the next video, with the next lesson and the new topic. Till then, stay home, stay safe, take care, bye-bye.